In the last video, I briefly went over a piece of the puzzle when it comes to how we know accurate history. That being said, manuscript evidence plays a humongous role in how we know what is actually happened throughout human history. And when it comes to the Bible specifically, it is extremely historically accurate when it comes to the amount of manuscript evidence we have for the Bible. That being said, we know that the Bible is recorded throughout history accurately. It has not been changed, and the places where it has been changed, or things have been added to it rather, we can determine. In this video, some of you may be wondering whether I recommend a certain English translation. I do recommend a newer English translation that is based on older manuscripts, and which will often in the footnotes show you the specific places where things were added to the Bible in the past. Most of these newer translations will not have those pieces that were added to the Bible included in their translations, but it will be included in smaller lettering in the footnotes. This Bible I'm showing you today is very interesting. Now, I started out with just one translation that I didn't know much about. It was a newer translation, and it was called it was called the ESV, or the English Standard Version. And that version I didn't know much about, but some people like it, some people dislike it. I ended up knowing Jesus personally and connecting with the Lord regardless. I think that had I picked up a King James Version, I would have had the same outcome. Had I picked up even more of a thought translation like the NIV, then I would have had the same outcome. I would still know Jesus. I would still have his words accurately recorded and accurately translated by teams of translators that care about translating accurately. And that dates all the way back to the ancient Jewish culture passing down the Old Testament, by the way. This Bible includes the King James Version and the Amplified Bible, a newer translation that, if you see, has more parentheses with different variations of what a word, in this case in Hebrew, could mean in those parentheses. I think that the Amplified Bible right here is a great choice for newcomers to the Bible. If they want to get more in depth into what certain words may mean, it has it laid out right there in front of you. It's very clear in giving you many different options of what the words in that scenario, in that context, could mean. King James Version, I would say that you should probably stay more into or at least have a translation, like in this case, next to you when you read the King James Version, because the Old English is sometimes very hard to interpret. And plus, it's based on manuscripts that are a lot less accurate than the ones in the newer translations, because we've found older versions of manuscripts that do not match the King James Version manuscripts in certain places, like I talked about in the last video. Now, that being said, those changes, those things that were added to the Bible manuscripts, do not necessarily take away anything or add anything to the message and the overall message of salvation found in this Bible. This is a love note from God to humanity, and God, I believe, made sure it was passed down accurately throughout history so that his people would know that it comes from him and that they can trust him. And that God loves us. That's the main message in this book. That's what Jesus came to show us, is that he loves us. So, Amplified Bible, King James Version. If you're new to Bible reading, stay more towards an Amplified Bible or a newer translation in easy to understand English. Another translation that's very easy to understand is called the Christian Standard Version, the Christian Standard Bible. The King James Version is more poetic in language. It's more in Old English, and some of the terminologies that are used in the older translations are not used by our English-speaking people today. That also being said, I want to add, if you are confused still in English about what could be being said anywhere in the Bible, whether it's in the Hebrew or the Greek, the Old Testament or the New, you can have a translation or a copy rather of the manuscripts in actual Greek and actual Hebrew, and including Aramaic too, which was also a third language that was used in some parts of this library of books. If you are interested in what it could be saying, just simply go online, find or download the Blue Letter Bible app. There you can find the Koine Greek and the ancient Hebrew lettering, and found in the most ancient manuscripts that we have, and the most accurate manuscripts we have of the Bible. I hope this helps you on your journey and you're discovering who Jesus is and what his word teaches about him. And I pray you're growing closer and understanding his love more and more daily. God bless you all. Stay blessed.